It's strange how some stories stay buried, whispered only in late-night circles, shared by those who swear they saw something they were never supposed to see. Tonight's story is one of those, a case so disturbing, so unexplainably real, that even the police refused to talk about it publicly. A story pulled from a forgotten file, a file that should have stayed hidden. If you're watching this right now, consider this your last warning. Once you hear what happened, once you understand what was waiting behind that door, you won't sleep comfortably again. This isn't just another horror tale. This isn't fiction. This is the documented experience of a man who disappeared after leaving a single, chilling message. If anything happens to me, don't open the door. No matter what you hear, what he saw, what followed him, and what was standing outside his room that night, remains one of the most terrifying incidents ever recorded. So sit tight, turn off your lights, and listen closely, because from this moment on, you're part of the story. Hamza had never liked sleeping alone, but this time he didn't have a choice. His roommates were out of town, the neighborhood was quiet, and the new house still didn't feel familiar enough to be comforting. It was past 2:38 a.m., that strange hour of the night when silence feels heavier than usual, almost alive. The house, a small two-story rental in a quiet American suburb, was usually filled with daytime noises. Passing cars, kids playing outside, the neighbor's dog barking. But now, everything seemed unnaturally still. Hamza lay awake on his bed, staring at the faint orange glow leaking in through the blinds from a distant streetlight. The fan on the ceiling rotated slowly, making a soft clicking sound every few seconds. He wasn't exactly scared, just uneasy. New places carried new sounds, and his mind was still adjusting. Then he heard it, a gentle, slow, dragging sound somewhere in the hallway. Hamza froze instantly. It wasn't loud. It wasn't violent. It was almost careful, as if someone was trying not to be heard. He lifted his head slightly, listening harder. Maybe it was the wind? Maybe a box he hadn't unpacked yet shifting around? But the sound returned with the same rhythm, same pace, like something or someone pulling their feet or scraping fabric along the floor. The sound wasn't coming from outside. It was inside the house. Hamza's heartbeat grew louder inside his ears. He sat up slowly, trying not to make noise. His eyes stayed locked on his bedroom door, waiting for the sound to repeat, hoping it wouldn't. But it did. This time closer, as if the dragging was moving slowly down the hallway, toward his room. Hamza held his breath as the dragging sound faded into silence. For a moment, he tried to convince himself it was nothing. Maybe the house cooling, maybe pipes expanding. But then, just when the tension in his shoulders began to loosen, a new sound broke through the stillness. A soft knock. Talk, talk, talk. It was so gentle that it almost felt polite, which somehow made it even worse. A loud bang could have been explained. But this sounded like someone standing just inches from his bedroom door, tapping with deliberate slowness, waiting for him to hear it. Hamza's eyes widened. He hadn't locked the bedroom door earlier. He never needed to. It was a safe neighborhood, a good house, and he didn't believe in ghosts or intruders. But now, that unlocked door felt like the only thin barrier between him and something he couldn't see. He sat frozen, staring at the knob, half expecting it to turn. Talk, talk, talk. The knock came again, a little sharper this time, a little more impatient. Hamza's phone lit up suddenly on the nightstand. The vibration made him jump. He grabbed it without thinking, hoping it was a friend, a notification, anything normal. But it wasn't. It was a message from an unknown number. A simple, terrifying sentence. Do not open your door. Someone is standing outside. Hamza's stomach dropped. His first instinct was disbelief. Maybe someone was messing with him. But how would they know what he was hearing? How would they text him at the exact moment the knock happened? Before he could process it, the knock sounded a third time. This one slower, almost like a warning. The quiet hallway suddenly felt inhabited. Not by something supernatural, but by something real. Something that wanted him to open that door. Hamza held the phone tightly, his fingers trembling. The message kept replaying in his mind. Someone is standing outside. He forced himself to breathe slowly, trying not to panic. Maybe it was a prank. Maybe one of his friends somehow got his number and knew he was alone tonight. But the timing, the accuracy, the knock, it didn't feel like a coincidence. Trying to calm himself, Hamza opened the home security app. Their house had 3 indoor cameras, living room, hallway, kitchen, all automatically connected. But when the feed loaded, his stomach tightened. All 3 indoor cameras were offline. Black screens. No signal. Only the front porch camera was working. He switched to it immediately. The camera showed the quiet front yard. Dark trees, empty driveway, still porch. No movement. No person. No shadow. Hamza swallowed hard. So then who knocked? His phone buzzed again. A second message. He won't show up on cameras. They never do. Hamza's heart pounded. They? Who was they? A third message arrived instantly, as if the sender could sense his fear. Don't speak. Don't move. He knows you're awake now. Hamza felt a cold wave crawl across his skin. He looked at the door again. The light under it seemed darker than usual, like something was blocking it from the other side. The house was silent, painfully silent, like everything was waiting. And then, a faint, slow breath came from the hallway. Not his, someone else's, someone inches from the door. The breathing outside faded, replaced by a thick, uncomfortable silence. Hamza didn't move, didn't blink, afraid the slightest sound might provoke whatever was on the other side of that thin wooden door. Just as he began to shift backward on the bed, he felt it, a very light, almost accidental brush against the wooden floor beneath him. Then a small movement, like fabric sliding. Hamza froze completely. The sound came again, clearer this time. Sir, under the bed. His chest tightened. If someone was in the hallway, then who or what was under him? His phone buzzed again. The vibration felt like a shock. A new message. Don't look under the bed. Whatever came inside doesn't want to be seen yet. Hamza's blood ran cold. Inside, the message didn't say someone. It said whatever. He slowly lifted one knee off the mattress. But the moment he shifted his weight, he heard a very quiet exhale. Directly below him. A human breath. Close. Hidden. Hamza clamped a hand over his mouth to stifle a scream. He tried to lift his legs from the floor, moving as silently as possible. Another message appeared instantly, almost like the sender was watching him. He's waiting for you to look. Hamza's eyes filled with tears as he remained perfectly still, caught between whatever waited in the hallway and whatever breathed inches from his feet. For a long moment, Hamza didn't move. The room felt smaller, the air thicker, as if the shadows themselves were pressing in. His muscles ached from staying still, but he didn't dare shift. Beneath him, the faint breathing continued, slow, controlled, like whoever was under the bed didn't want to be discovered yet. Something inside him finally snapped. Hamza needed to know. He leaned forward just an inch, lowering his head slightly, trying to angle toward the floor. The moment his weight shifted, the thing under the bed moved again. Not a big movement. A small adjustment like someone repositioning their shoulder. He froze mid-lean. His phone vibrated again. He reached for it with shaking fingers. A new message. If you look, he will grab you. Hamza's breath hitched. His eyes filled with panic. He pulled his hand back, gripping the sheets tightly. Suddenly, the doorknob to his room twitched. Just once. A small, almost soft attempt. Then it twisted harder. A slow, determined movement, as if someone outside was testing how quietly they could open it. But it didn't open. Hamza's phone buzzed again. I locked the door for you. Otherwise, he would already be inside. Hamza stared at the message. If someone or something was under his bed, and someone was also at the door, then there were two. Two beings. Two dangers. One inside. One outside. He didn't know which one was worse. The knob twisted again. This time harder. More impatient. Hamza pressed himself against the headboard, tears streaming, unable to scream, unable to breathe, trapped between the hallway and the thing breathing under him. And then, everything stopped. The doorknob went still. The breathing under the bed went silent. Even the night sounds outside vanished. It was the kind of silence that didn't feel natural, the kind that felt applied, almost forced, like someone had muted the entire world. Hamza felt his ears ringing from the pressure of it. He slowly lifted his phone to check the time, but before he could unlock it, a final message appeared on the black screen. "You can't stay here. There isn't room for both of you." Both. The word cut through him like ice. Who was texting him? Which one did you refer to? The thing under the bed? The thing outside the door? Or was the sender a third presence he couldn't see? Before he could think, a loud sound snapped through the silence. Not from the door, not from under the bed, but behind him. Footsteps. Fast, sudden, directly rushing toward him. Inside the room, Hamza turned to look, but his vision blurred. His body felt heavy, like gravity had thickened. He stumbled off the bed, reaching desperately for the window. He didn't make it. A cold pressure filled the room behind him. A presence he could feel, not see. A shadow passed over him, swallowing the last bit of light. Then, everything went black. Hamza collapsed before he could even scream. The world returned in pieces. A smell first, dust, wood, something metallic. Then the coldness of the floor against Hamza's cheek. Then the distant echo of voices, low, tense, unfamiliar. Hamza blinked slowly. Light poured into the room from the hallway. The morning sun. He wasn't in bed anymore. He was lying halfway on the floor, one arm twisted under him. Someone stepped into the room. A uniform, a badge. "Sir? Can you hear me?" Hamza tried to respond, but his throat felt raw. His voice wouldn't come out. The officer knelt beside him, shining a small flashlight into his eyes, checking his pulse, calling out to another officer in the hallway. "He's alive. Weak pulse, but responsive." 2 paramedics hurried inside with a stretcher. Hamza tried to focus, but his mind was foggy. His tongue felt too heavy to speak. He looked around the room. The bed, the nightstand, the blinds, everything normal. Painfully normal. One of the officers glanced at the broken phone on the floor. "Looks like he passed out trying to reach the window," he murmured. Another officer stood at the doorway, staring at the floorboards. "You're going to want to see this," he pointed. Hamza's eyes followed. Under the bed, carved deep into the wooden frame, were scratch marks. Not random, not accidental. Long, desperate gouges like someone had been clawing at the wood from the inside. And right in the center, carved with shaky precision. "This room wasn't yours." The officers exchanged uneasy looks, pretending to stay professional, but clearly unsettled. Then came the part that haunted them most. The porch camera footage from last night. The screen showed the front door from 11 p.m. to sunrise. And for 6 hours straight, a tall, unmoving shadow stood in front of Hamza's bedroom door. No face, no features, no movement. Just height, too much height, like a human shape stretched wrong. It never knocked, never shifted, never left. It just waited. And when the sun rose, it faded. It faded from the frame, dissolving like smoke. Hamza stared at the screen, trembling, barely breathing. He whispered the only words he could form. "There were 2 of them." His voice cracked. "And one is still inside."